Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mindful CEO. Hi, Aaron. Was that is that an M?
Yeah.
Mindful
Is that
CEO.
backwards? That's that
Beautiful.
backwards?
I don't know. It all looks, yeah, I don't know. Hey, talking about noticing your machine. Notice your machine. I'm curious what that means to you. I love that as a topic here. So let's unpack.
All
it
right,
for
good.
everybody.
Well, we've got to go back 30 seconds because that was the prompt that we came up with and before we hit record. So for everyone who's just listening, you're like, what the, it's going to be somewhere in the title. So that's what you clicked on, but still, all right, we were talking about mindfulness. And so I've taken on becoming certified as a mindfulness instructor, as mindfulness teacher. And I've been blown away by the practices and the difference the practices make. I can feel my brain rewiring. And just can't say enough about how excited I am about it. And the point of the mindfulness is, I don't know if this is the point. I don't want to pretend I have this entire history of the point of anything. But one of the opportunities of mindfulness practices, of practicing mindfulness, taking 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, but really even 10 minutes, even 5 minutes of interrupting the brain and getting present points to something. And what I was saying it points to is, it's not like, everyone's a machine. Everyone is going about their day automatically, on automatic, on autopilot. It is only when you're struck with something that you don't know how to do that you are forced into system one thinking, slow thinking, really what's thinking is. Almost everything else we do, we're doing on autopilot. I mean, just think about, the way you drive now compared to the way you drove when you learned how to drive. Right. When I watch my kids at this point, even both at, 17 and 20, both drive automatically, right? Which is scary as hell that they do that. But you can text, change the radio, respond to a voicemail, and drive at the same time. And you literally don't think about it. You literally do not think about it. You are on autopilot. And that's how you interact with your spouse. That's how you interact with your kids. It's not bad. This is not a judgment call about that. This is just, you and I are reactive machines. And our machinery is designed to keep us alive. And survive. And with that comes certain limitations, which is really, why both of us connected through the Lamrock Forum so easily, because that was such a profound opportunity to get, holy cow, that's where machine came from. That's the kind of machine I am. That's the flavor. And, we got really enrolled over the last 30 years in examining the impact and what's on the other side of the machinery. And the basis of that, it really is, I don't know if the basis of that is right, but I have found that mindfulness meditation practice is very much consistent with that, is noticing the machine. And that our only access to not being a machine, actually operating as a machine, our only access to not operating a machine is to notice that we are operating as a machine. You don't have any way to get out of it, period, because you're till you die, but you have an opportunity to actually do something else if you notice what you're doing. And mindfulness practice is about noticing, period, just noticing.
I just thought of this. There was a guy I knew of. I didn't meet him. I knew of him in college. His name's Bob Goff, and he travels the world and meets with world leaders. He's an attorney in San Diego, but he's written a couple books recently, and you can find a podcast episodes with him in it. Bob Goff, Goff, and he has a thing he talks about on Thursdays. He quits things on Thursdays. He looks at his life, his calendar, his billing, and he quits things on Thursdays. Every Thursday, he quits something else. And it just reminds me of what you're saying, like, how many things have we subscribed to or put in our calendars, and it's just automatically there. And but he has this practice, this mindfulness practice on Thursday. I don't even know he would call it a mindfulness practice. He just says, I quit things on Thursdays.
Right. But that's a mindfulness practice.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, and if you have any doubt about the machinery, you know that's, I mean, there's a million businesses that run on the subscription model because they're counting on you not unsubscribing.
Right.
And they're just going to auto bill you. And it's just there in the background, auto billing you. That's a million things. I just went through my bank statements, and I once a month, or I like to think I do it once a month, but I really do it like probably twice a year, is go through and look at what am I being billed for that I'm not using anymore.
Wow.
And but there's things like that that use our time. I think that's a brilliant practice that Bob has. I love that. And looking to see what do I use my energy for that is not returning anything on the investment of the energy. And it just happens automatically, and it's in the background, and it's just an assumption. And that's, you know, the mindfulness meditations, the practices are one of the opportunities is to rewire your brain so that it has a greater and greater opportunity to slow down and be present in the moment for what you're doing, and which would give you the opportunity to quit things moment by moment. Like you can turn off anytime you wanted, right? If you were present to, you were turning on, you know, you were automatic, you could stop as long as you were present to it. And I mean, the thing that has most surprised me so far in the training that I'm in is how quickly and sort of easily my brain is getting rewired for that out of very short practices. I've always thought of mindfulness practices being some yogic, I'll go on a silent retreat. Like I can't even think of anything more painful than, you know, is it Vipassana? Like a retreat, a 7-day silent retreat. Has seemed to me to be as painful of a thing as you could do. But I know plenty of people that do it, you know, and it's just a reset. And, you know, the point is, this is not that.
Right. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
It could be just 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, where you're going to stop. I have a little timer on my phone that rings. It's a mindfulness reminder. It rings at a random interval. I have it set for 3 times an hour. And every time it rings, I am irritated and upset that I need to stop what I'm doing. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, again? The timer's broken. It just rang a minute ago. Why is it ringing again? Like, just notice that it gets, and right. And, you know, that just points to how automatic I am, how I'm in a auto mode, not a present mode, not like, oh, there's a bell. How interesting. It's like, fuck.
I think the practice is really interesting to me because if I just think about, well, 2 thoughts. First, that you're in a mindfulness instructor certification thing is cool. And you have been in the process of observing your life and life around you for a long time. Like nobody needs a teacher or certification to be mindful. So I just, the first part of that's there for me is like, anybody interested in the Mindful CEO as a community or a podcast, we're already at times in life being observers, and we probably already have practices in our life, right? It's like, this isn't like a new thought. But that being said, the second thing that's there for me is, as you're describing, I'm just noticing even as much observing as I do, how automatic things are for me, how machine-like I am, you know, like I've been playing a lot of golf this year. Last year, I loved golf again. I got burned out for a while, but I'll play once a week, and I will watch unlimited YouTube videos on like trying to feel the thing I'm trying to feel in the swing to make the thing happen. But then I'll go play golf, and there's no moment of being mindful. There's lots of thoughts, and there's like a million thoughts trying to like tweak this, do that, but there's not a observing the whole thing. And So it's interesting to me, like when you could pour as much energy into wanting something, desiring something like have a good golf score or to live your life's purpose, you could pour all the energy into it and you could still be doing it on autopilot and not being mindful about it. I just think that's really interesting.
It's fascinating. The machinery is fascinating. And I could hear, Chris, inside that one of the principles of mindfulness is non-striving, is, nowhere to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Which I know you can hear that from many, many different philosophies or different modalities have non-striving.
Yeah.
Wu Wei.
Wu Wei.
I don't know what Wu Wei means.
Oh, Wu Wei. Wu Wei is like non-doing.
Okay, anyway. Good. Yeah. And when you listen to, extraordinary athletes speak about being in the zone or when they're at peak performance, while they're certainly as competitive, which is, competition is the ultimate attainment of a goal over another's, right? Is as striving as you get. Yeah. You can't get anything more striving than a competitive mindset.
Right.
And there's no doubt that, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, LeBron, any Kobe, any of the, athletes that we put on a pinnacle of the top of their game, Tom Brady, whatever, are literally the peak of competition, right? Of striving. But when they speak about the zone that they were in, when they're actually doing the activity, the actual activity, the swinging of the club, the lofting of the ball, right? That moment, those moments, they talk about it like it's silent. They talk about being, if you listen to what they say, we'll do a little research on this and to comment on it thoroughly, but those recreations of those events, which is always what you get, is a recreation, is a talking about, is a mapping, not the territory, the mapping.
Yes, I was just thinking
right, is the descriptions of it describe that space of non-striving, of there's nothing, and then there's the ball, and there's the there's like that space. So that's the mastery involved,
right?
That's the practice. And they all practice visualization, they all talk about what they do off the court to develop that mindset, to bring that sort of detachment from the goal, so that when they get into that position, they're left with the real opportunity to perform beyond striving.
I just got a picture of what our community, the Mindful CEO community, is like in light of how you just described it. Like where Kobe, anybody, Tom Brady, anybody that's performing at a high level has a place they go to practice, to dribble, to shoot, to do all the things. And there's space held for that practice. There is a space held for the practice. And most people don't have that kind of space. I mean, you could say like my journal's that space, my backyard's that space, but for the most part, there isn't a place where we headed in the same direction, called mindful CEOs, who are out for a particular purpose in life. Like there's not a place where we can go to practice that. And I think having a space, what you and I are curating with this space, is like the gym, the place you would go to meet up with other mindful CEO athletes to go to work on your mindfulness, your mission, and the mastermind of where you would actually, share that energy with others.
Yeah. And the accountability of a brotherhood or a sisterhood or a partnership. Forget about that. Gender.
I know I will not show up as much for myself as I will when I'm with others. If others are doing it, I will be more consistent to show up.
And so there's that aspect for sure, of accountability, of team, of partnership. People have your back. You got someone you can call to. You're no longer on your own, which is a big thing with CEOs. Is heavy is the head that wears the crown. That world is alone, and now there's a partnership, a community, right? Oh, shit! There was a whole nother thought. Oh, that there's something, oh my God, the fourth M.
Well, you go. Don't lose it. What is it?
There's something that's available when you are willing to mumble through.
No.
Damn, motherfucker. Oh, motherfucker, it's an M. See, that was never, Chris and I spent, I don't know, 30 minutes before this, we started recording this, thinking about the framework and like that. We came up with mindfulness.
Oh, God.
Chris is big on alliteration. So mission and mastermind come up. And now we have the fourth and fifth M's, right? Which is mumbling, because Chris, that you came up with that in this conversation.
Yeah, right.
That's the purpose of the community. Yes. That there's now, I mean, that just laid out something really visual, right? For me, like there's this world in which people that are committed to leading their life, they're the CEO, they get themselves as there's no one coming. If it's going to be, it's up to me. That's all the CEO creed. Okay. You know, that's, you know, that's, so whether you really are technically the CEO of your own company, you certainly relate to yourself as the CEO of your own life. That's the point. And there's now a place where you can go, where you can bring mindfulness, develop that pathway, right? Really create a mission like that. And you're willing to mumble your way through what that looks like. Yeah. Right. Inside this mastermind, inside this community, inside like that, because something's going to show up that is never going to show up you talking to yourself. Because you're just talking to the machine. Right. Right. Yeah. Right. Good point. Not possible. Machines and M2. God, there are all these words. Okay. There's, you know, but it's just not possible to get to it on your own. Right. Right. There's just, I would just leave it at that. It's just, just something that's going to show up when you're willing to be vulnerable and mumble through what you're dealing with. Someone else comes in with an idea from over here and you're like, oh, could go that way. Right. Right. And that's part of being part of that mastermind community where you really are willing to engage in looking at it like that. So I love that. So I can see in the logo, the triangle that we have, mumble being right in the middle of that, because you said inside the space you can mumble, and that the triangle is kind of moving. There is a mumble thing happening inside of those 3 points of mindfulness, mastermind, and mission. That there's inside of all that. All right, good. So then those group calls, are mumbles. That's what they are. They're not. It's not a call. It's a mumble. It's a mumble. And mumble may be, you know, sort of, I mean, we use mastermind because that's a term we don't need to define. It exists in the culture, right? Mumble is something where, registered trademarks, right? Mumble. I'm going to go register the word mumble. That's right. That's probably not a bad idea. But like to really create that, that's, you know, that's the activity that we're doing together while we're masterminding. What we're doing is we're mumbling our way through to come up with whatever is next. And right. I think that's really super exciting. And, you know, I mean, obviously it's exciting. I just got excited. I mean, that's just was right there. And it's, you know, there's something about that phenomenon. You know, I hear it. I don't know enough about this phrase to know that this is accurate, because this is a phrase that's actually used in brain science and scientific community like that, of an emergent phenomena that like I said, I don't know enough about it to know, but it does strike me from the little bit that I've read about it, that I've heard, you know, that it's in my, what do you call that? My, aura, purview, proximity, okay, energy field, that it's there in the Deepak Chopra has a word for it, that it's there, right, for me to access. I know that there's something to do with this. I can't believe it would just be like, nah, it has nothing to do with this. It's, you know, it's something that shows up only in an emergent phenomena. It shows up over here in the moment. Oh, sure. It's a phenomena that arises, right, in the moment, and nothing that could be taught really attained without a willingness to be in the moment. And that was a real emergent phenomena right there when we got to the mumble was the fourth M.
Right. Yeah.
And motherfucker.
Right.
That those are there to emerge is a really big deal. And that's what the community is for. So then so anyway, the access to, just to go back to the prompt about that we're all machines, the other aspect of another aspect of our being machines is the opportunity to slow down enough to bring awareness to it, just because I even share, the whole, you might want to share about what you went through just even this morning when I talked about mindfulness practices versus my 90-minute reaction, right? Like
how I'm a free spirit, that one.
Yeah. I just think that's an interesting thing to talk about, because people get their backup, and the backup is the machine gets its backup. You don't really get your backup. You're not really resistant to that stuff. The machine is resistant. The machine things. You don't. You are. You're. What's the C.S. Lewis quote that you don't have a soul. You have a body. You are a soul. And I don't know if that's the exact quote, but that's you are. Your soul doesn't get its back up against stuff. Your machine does.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Yeah, I think, that's kind of the whole point about like prescribing me a practice and having my history with practices. All the times when I was trying to be a good student and I was like, I'm going to journal and I'm going to do my gratitudes and I'm going to do, and you go through the motions of doing something that somebody else said is a really mindful practice. And I'm like, I didn't really get anything out of it. So then my spidey senses start to tingle when somebody says, okay, well, I'm going to prescribe for you a certain mindfulness practice to do every day for 5 days. And I'm like, well, it better not be something I don't want to do, or it better not be the thing I tried before that didn't work, and you can already hear the conditions that are the machine is like computing. No, we've done that before. That doesn't work. We're not going to do that. And to your point, like all the machinery is making those calculations. I'm not being the observer of me reacting. I'm just reacting. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do it my way. I'm a free spirit. Don't tell me what to do.
Right. It's really, Chris, it's so good that you said all that stuff, because I wasn't present to all that in the background. Not just you, but of
right. Yeah.
Is, the times that we've failed to be consistent with a practice.
Sure,
the kind of machine we are is not just a meaning making machine, as we would say, but as one that is constantly using the past as a guide for what's possible in the future. We're constantly looking to our past to see what's worth doing in the future.
Right.
But mechanically, not consciously.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
That, that stuff that's there for you. Because I have that stuff about weight loss and dieting is, if I stop to, that, I really have to complete the past to get that to be available. And I would have no doubt that anyone who's at least hears this as a possibility, as an opportunity, this podcast and what we're doing as an opportunity, hasn't had, a slew of successful and failed practices in the past.
Right.
That we're constantly bringing into our range of ideas of what we can do or not do, or what's worth doing or not doing, and how we are about it, including, gosh, there couldn't be an older reactive conversation for any of us than don't tell me what to do. Right. There's nothing created, nothing in the moment being created that would leave you with, don't tell me what to do. That's 100% a past-based phenomenon.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's certainly not unique to you. I just got my back all arched with my wife about something, and at the heart of all of it, almost anything I get my back arched with Kale is some version of the fuck you tell me, don't fucking tell me what to do. Why, I like the way she reacts to my driving, like someone a mile ahead is braking and she's and my reaction is, you want to drive?
Oh yeah.
You could drive. I'll let you drive. There's no reason why I'm driving. I'm not the one who's been in an accident. You have. I'm not. I'm pretty good at this. But
So funny.
all of that is just down the road from don't tell me what to do.
Right.
Like, not any loving, compassionate, empathetic, let's observe what's happening here with the words she's saying, and how does it look for her to say those words to me, and where is she looking from, and what does she need, and all those things. What does she need? Where's she looking from? What could I provide? All those things are created things that I actually gave my word to in my relationship with my wife at the time we married, right? I promise, love, honor, respect, all that good stuff. None of it was, as long as you don't tell me what the fuck to do. None of it was conditioned on, as long as I don't hear what you're saying as you're trying to tell me what to do, which is a guaranteed way I'm going to hear it. If I'm operating as my machine, I'm going to hear it like, why are you telling me what to do?
So good.
Right.
It's so funny.
So that's
life, man. And that's the path of a mindful, and that's the path of a CEO out on a mission to go do something. Is I'm going to go do something. I'm most likely going to do it in my machinery because I'm a machine. And the only way for me to do it not as a machine is to notice that I'm a machine.
And any practices that I can gather onto, including, short, easy mindfulness daily practices to rewire my actual meat pudding in my brain. That is my brain. The meat pudding in my head, that is the one that's sending me signals, is to slow down the amygdala signal. Right? It's the fight or flight. Slow that signal down for a moment, please. It's unnecessary. It's very unlikely my wife is a saber-toothed tiger. It's going to kill me, right? That when she tells me to restack the dishwasher, it's not a threat. Slow that down, right? Let love show up, let compassion, let empathy show up. That would be a better life, right? So there's the daily practices of that help to rewire the brain. And then there's the weekly community where something new can get mumbled that I can play with for the week and implement. That's another practice of someone of our community, that someone who was interested in fulfilling a mission, fulfilling something, not just getting to the end of life going, okay, well, that was that, just ultimately what we're going to say anyway, but, leave something behind and have made a difference, some kind of mission like that. If you were up to that, we're asserting that there's an opportunity to go beyond what your machine says is possible about that kind of stuff.
Wow. It's good, man.
It's good. Good shit, Chris.
It's good shit.
It's good shit. And it started with framework. So now we not only just have a framework, but that when it's really great. So for everyone, watching, this would be really good, Chris, as a prompt or inside the mastermind, inside the mumbles is, the power framework. Because none of this came up until you said, okay, well, we need a framework. We need something some container, some way to hold what we're doing here. And then inside that, everything we just said got created. And I'm really excited about everything we just created. And none of that was available. None of that was present when I got on the call at 10 this morning. None of that was there yet. It was all available. Right. From the field. What field? God damn it. What does he say? What does he call? Anyway, from the from the cosmic field of all information and all knowledge, and all that was there, but we didn't have any way, it didn't have any container to be seen in. Until we did the framework. So I think definitely training CEOs in creating a framework for their missions, is a important step
That's killer. Yeah.
Yeah, killer. And then we could play with that for a while. All right. Well,
Good.
maybe
Well, that's probably a good place to end. If you are listening to this and you want to learn more about the community, the Mindful CEO community, where all of this becomes reality, go to themindfulceo.com/.
excellent. Party on.
Invite. Awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Party on. See you next time.
Yeah, man.